Welcome to the March 23rd Mesa Campus Community Forum. My name is Pam Luster, and I am the proud president of San Diego Mesa College, and I'm so very excited for you to be here today. Our Campus Community Forum started last year when we made the jump to a remote learning environment, and we hold them twice a month. The first part of the meeting is really campus updates and what's going on within the college, not necessarily just on campus, but what's happening within the college. And so I, along with our vice presidents, give reports on that. And then each time we have a forum, we like to bring in a group that's doing something on our campus that we think the broader campus would like to know about. So today we're really excited to present to you our Olympian Pathways pilot, and that has been to support our Olympian student athletes. And so we are excited that we have student athletes here with us today, and also our athletic retention specialist and deans Ailene Crakes and Ryan Shumaker to really be able to tell you what this program has been about and where we've been going from here. So again, welcome to all of you. It looks like about over 70 of us are on Zoom webinar, and then I hope lots of folks are watching this on YouTube as well. So I'm going to start with just a couple of updates. As you probably know, San Diego has now moved into the red zone. So we're happy to be out of purple and into red. Of course, orange would be nice. So that's my little way of saying spring break, wear a mask and stay away from each other, because maybe we can stay in the red zone and maybe even move to the orange zone. So don't do the Miami Beach thing. Just stick around and maybe work on your conditioning or get healthy or take a nice hike out in the middle of nowhere. Whatever keeps you healthy and moving forward. Let's do that for spring break this year. What that means for us is a couple of things. The college is still closed, of course, for our regular operations. We do have some folks that are on campus, of course, keeping our campus safe and keeping things open, keeping things clean. And of course, the safety of our campus, very important. We do have some courses that are on campus under very strict COVID protocols, and so that is continuing as well. We are coming into what we like to call smile season, and that is when we start to talk about our scholarship activities, our recognition activities, our drive-through commencements, and I'm happy to say I know that Dr. Hans will have an update on that we'll be doing another very festive drive-through commencement this year. So lots of fun things coming your way. As I said earlier, spring break is next week, so I hope you'll have an opportunity to rest up a little bit and to restore and to get ready for this home stretch that we'll be experiencing as we make our way through the rest of the semester and into May. In terms of the summer and fall semesters, it would be much like it is now. I'm sure Dr. O'Connor will give you an update on fall. We'll have a few more activities on our campus because, of course, we hope to be a little bit past where we are now in terms of immunizations and the kinds of things that would help us to get back on our campuses safely. So with that, I am going to go ahead and turn this over to Lorenz Legaspi, our VP of Administrative Services, for an update on admin services.
Thank you, President Luster. Good afternoon, everyone. For the Administrative Services update, we're going to take a little pivot today, inspired by our last community forum with our EOPS and Next Up students. We wanted to take a look at administrative services and, from the last prompt of what makes you proud, what brings you joy, we're taking a look at admin services, and I had asked each of our departments, what makes you proud? And so I want to read a couple of these things as we get to the forum of, we've been off campus now for a year. And so with that has come significant challenges in both the day-to-day and in personal lives as well. And so it gave us an opportunity to reset. Thank you to those that presented at our last forum as well. Very inspiring. And it gave us an opportunity to take a look at what makes us in administrative services proud. So a couple of things I'm just going to read from various members of our team. It's still continuing to serve the campus while working remotely. Working remotely and still having the ability to assist at the farmers market, even during the pandemic, and helping process the COVID-19 grants to students. And then another thing people are proud of is that we're still able to help people out, right? Operations are still going, things are still being purchased. And so people are proud within our department for us to help you, our employees, to help our students. And I think that's something worth commending. And then also to been proud of the team effort, right? Everyone working together despite working from home, despite all the challenges, despite all these new funding sources and budget numbers and everything we else have going on, but still being able to come together as a team and work together. And some of our other departments said the ability to still serve students, right? In student accounting, we're very proud of the bus passes that we've been able to give out, right? Our students were essential workers, are essential workers, and we were able to help provide opportunities for bus passes for when it was only essential workers that were outside of the house. And then again, another shout out to the farmers market. And so one thing too is the last one is the ability to learn and to be productive, timely in the quality of work that we're still being able to do. We are proud. We have learned a lot as a department, as the administrative services. And so be able to learn and to still serve our campus and our students is something that we're definitely proud of. And so all of the updates that I've given at the forums and at PCADs, all of that wraps into what we've been able to do and how we are proud to still be able to serve Mesa, even though some of us haven't been on campus for that year. As our president mentioned, switching gears a little bit to COVID-19, we're still in the red zone. We got to the red zone, and now let's stay in the red zone and hopefully get to the orange tier when appropriate for that. And so please, continue to wear your masks. The vaccines are available for our employees, so continue to look into that. And then also, as our president mentioned, campus is still closed, though we will have some activity coming onto campus. Campus at large is still closed. And then switching gears just a little bit more, Mesa 2030, I am proud with a smile on my face to say that our final draft and for first readings will go to President's Cabinet April 6th, and then from there it'll go out to the constituent groups. But again, I want to thank our task force and the college community as a whole for being able to hold both spaces of planning Mesa 2030, envisioning 10 more years of equity and excellence. And so then the final product will be making its way around our constituent groups for approval with board and then going to our board of trustees in later on this spring. So that concludes the updates, and I'm proud to give them for administrative services.
Thank you so much, Lorenz. And then let's move on to Dr. O'Connor. Isabel.
Okay, I found my two buttons. Here we go. Good afternoon, everybody. Just very briefly today, a couple of updates is, of course, we continue to work behind the scenes very diligently with chairs and deans planning for the fall semester. Our summer is just about ready to roll. Our fall semester is in the making. In order to prepare, given all the uncertainties, and that is one thing we learned in COVID, that you have to be flexible and prepared for the unknown, but still do your very best. So that's what we are trying to do. We actually surveyed all the chairs and asked them how they would envision their fall schedule, what are their needs. We had a variety of tiers that went from the same classes that we have right now to adding a few more to all the way to the dream at the very end that we would all be back on campus, which we understand is not going to happen. It's a tool to help us determine which classes need to come back to campus because they are next up in the rotation of curriculum for students to earn the degree or certificate, because they're hard to convert, lab courses, exercise science, and so forth. We also have about 292 sections that will need some kind of exam testing kind of solution on campus. So we are diligently working on that as well. The other part is, in addition to support the fantastic work, and once again, if we talk about gratitude, I'm grateful for a great deal of things, but certainly for all the effort and great work that our faculty have put into the move to online. If you look a year ago where we were at and where we are right now, it is clear that our faculty have dedicated an enormous amount of effort and interest in order to support our students, and their teaching online certainly is showing it. So as I was saying, in order to support those great efforts, we are also looking at next sources of funding and what are our needs to support instruction remotely, even as we try to come back to campus in higher numbers. And then I got two really great announcements to share with you. The first one is, again, a sign of the strength of our students as well, is our Mesa Press won the Online General Excellence Award at the 2021 Journalism Association of Community Colleges in their state convention. So great job to our students and their faculty leader, Jana. And just hot off the press, gee, no pun intended. All right, I'm saying my own jokes and laughing at them too. We have, thanks to Mark Manassi for sharing this with us a few minutes ago, 4 of our very seasoned and fantastic tutors presented today at a national forum on tutoring. Their presentation was San Diego Mesa College, Tutoring, Transforming Learning Assistance via an Equity Lens. Again, another sign of our tutors' great work supporting the teaching and learning. We know that many students have been accessing the tutoring online, and we continue to support their needs and look forward to finding new ways to even do it better. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Isabel. And now Dr. Hands.
Hello, hello. I'm so excited to be sharing with you on behalf of Student Services today. Our departments and programs continue to create space and conditions that matter for our students to succeed. I certainly cannot name everything that we're doing. So Student Services, if you're here, please feel free to start dropping activities and events in the chat. I'd like to send a special thank you to Student Health Services and their team for creating space for our community to come together in response to the recent murders of 8 people in Atlanta, 6 of whom were Asian women. Ongoing support in particular for our students and through spaces for Student Services, faculty, staff, and student leaders exist. And so I encourage you to reach out, to connect, and to figure out ways to be supported, to voice your concerns, and for us again to process this as a community. As Pam mentioned, there are lots of planning for the end of the year ceremonies, as she calls Smile Season. So I also am going to ask different areas to drop information in the chat about our scholarship ceremony, commencement, applying for graduation. If you have students who are interested in being commencement speakers or that you think would be great commencement speakers, we just want to put all this information in the chat so you have access to this. And of course, we send it out via the campus email. One program that I would like to highlight is our Jumpstart event, and that is going to be on Saturday, April 17th. And so I'll ask Charlie to drop in the chat a new page that we've created. So on this site, you can actually register for a Jumpstart. You can see a welcome from our incredible president. You can look at the schedule, which includes synchronous and asynchronous activities and workshops. In addition to welcomes and other exciting activities, we have almost 15 workshops, including sessions in Spanish, and over 40 departments that are going to be participating in our resource fair. So we are very excited. It is going to be an incredible event. Please forward the messages that we're sending out to friends, family. We have a lot of great information to share. Our Student Services call to action, as you know, is in full bloom. Again, this was a direct response to the spark felt around the world by the murder of George Floyd and the resulting light that was being shined on structural racism, and our responsibility to ensure that our students have access to what they need to succeed and thrive here at Mesa College. So each of our student services areas are working diligently to honor their identified call to action and goals. And this week, I would like to highlight 2. One was actually highlighted at our last forum, and it was the launch of our Mesa 21-Day Equity Challenge. So that started on Monday. So woo to everybody who's participating in that. And again, it said that it takes 21 days for an individual to make or break a habit. And so we are creating space for habits to begin to be formed around equity. So thanks to everybody who signed up for that. Then I'd also like to highlight a recent accomplishment or sharing from our Transfer, Career, and Evaluations Department. As a part of their call to action, they created an anti-racism, diversity, equity, and inclusion action plan. The action plan highlights expectations around recruitment and retention, programs and services, training and development, policies and practices, communication and transparency, a sense of belonging, and employers and university representatives. And so I have the link, I'll drop it in the chat, but Claudia, if you are here, please feel free to drop it in the chat. I think this is an excellent example of the space that we can create, the expectations that we can put out there when we are really mindful and intentional about the students that we are serving. So I'm so proud of all of the efforts. And this was just one of the newest ones that was released, and I wanted to share that with you. Village Demands is a statewide coalition on Black American affairs, and we recently partnered with them so that our campus, our entire campus, has free access to an event coming up this Friday, March 26th from 12 to 1:30. The event is called Celebrating the Black Woman and the Black Family. Again, it is a live webinar, it is free, and the Loft has sent information out telling everyone to save the date, but then you can also have access to a free link that will be sent to the entire campus. So please engage and participate. Something else that we would encourage you to participate, and although this is not directly Mesa College, I think this is a good conversation and dialogue to be a part of. So there's a coalition of AAPI, A2Men, and Colegas. And these three organizations focus on Asian American Pacific Islander individuals, Black African American, and Latinx groups. And so they are presenting an event called Silence is Violence, Unpacking and Addressing Anti-AAPI Violence. And so this is a free webinar. It is going to be this Saturday, and I will drop the link into the chat because I think this will be a great way for us to be able to unpack what is going on and to understand our own individual and collective responsibility in addressing the hate that is surrounding our Asian American Pacific Islander families, businesses, people. And so I think this would be a great opportunity, and I will drop it in the chat. And finally, for all of you who have been waiting, our accreditation midterm report was submitted to ACCJC, yay! And it is now posted on the web. So I'll also provide a link there, and that might make some great reading for your spring break. That's it for me.
All right, thank you so much to our vice presidents and to everyone who's providing leadership right now. It's not always easy to get your arms around how to create community when we're all in this remote environment, but I appreciate that our vice presidents are working so hard at it, and all of the folks, I appreciate and I'm grateful for all of you. Dr. Hands mentioned at least two of the violent acts that are certainly impacting all of us as we think about how we operate as human beings. And last week we had the opportunity to respond to the hate crimes that happened last week outside of the Atlanta area. And I wanted to give you just a short update on that. I was able to check in with some of our folks on campus that work with our AAPI students and some of our faculty and classified professionals, not everyone, but I will try to get out to all of the groups. And we've initiated conversations with both of the city council members that are represented, Mesa on the left and on the right. And I don't mean that from a political perspective, but we have two different city council members where Mesa actually intersects. And we have interest from them on partnering on how we can be better neighbors and how we can be better in our community together as we bind together both community college leadership, local government, and can we find ways in harmony to come together and support our AAPI populations and also just be proactive and thoughtful and not just wait for tragedies to occur and then feeling bad about them and not knowing quite what to do. We need to create some inroads and pathways so that we are better at this. And so I'm excited that both the city council members' offices have responded, are willing to work with us, and I look forward to new partnerships where Mesa can be in the community and the community can come into Mesa and assist us. So I look forward to both of those opportunities and more. We have other partnerships as well, but I think that one will bear fruit for us. So thank you all for your updates. And then what I'd like to do now is I would love to turn our webinar over to our two deans that have been taking the lead, who really have been the architects of the Olympian Pathways pilot, Dr. Ailene Crakes and Dr. Ryan Shumaker. Take us away.
All right, hello, my name is Dr. Ryan Shumaker. I'm Dean and Athletic Director at Mesa, and I'm joined today by Dr. Ailene Crakes. And we've got the distinct honor of discussing with you today the Olympian Pathways prototype. We also have a few of our athletic retention technicians and a group of student athletes that are here to share with you today, so that'll be a treat to hear from them as well. Next slide there, Ailene. So the Olympian Pathways prototype was created in response to us having to leave campus due to the pandemic. Our student athletes are really used to a high-touch environment where they're surrounded by student success teams, if you will, coaches and counselors and teammates, folks that are really there helping them succeed every step of the way. The Olympian Pathways prototype is a very intentional program that aims to take an equity-minded approach in providing student support and anticipating and then meeting the needs of our student athletes, especially while we're working with them in a remote environment. So the Olympian Pathways prototype, there's the secret sauce, if you program, is the position of athletic retention technicians. Now, we've got 16 athletic retention technicians that have been deployed with our 21 sports. We've got 11 women's sports and 10 men's sports. And so we serve about 610 to 615 student athletes right now. So, we've got a lot of folks that are out helping our student athletes, our athletic retention technicians. Now, their job, their main job is every week they are to contact our student athletes, whether it's through a text message or a phone call or a Zoom meeting, whatever method makes sense for that particular team. They will do weekly check-ins with each and every one of our student athletes. And so, as you can imagine, that's quite the undertaking. But on a Monday or a Tuesday, they would check in and fill out some contact tracker. We've got various forms that they need to fill out, and it basically captures the conversation and makes sure that if there are any issues, whether they're academic or personal or other, it could be financial or family issues, whatever it may be, that those hurdles are dealt with. And so if those do pop up in the Monday or Tuesday conversation, the athletic retention technicians, which we also call ARTs, so if I mention an ART, that's what that means, they will follow up with a student athlete sometime in the next few days, so Wednesday or Thursday or Friday, to make sure that we've provided whatever help and whatever support we need for that student, making sure to close the loop with a student athlete so that despite the distance and despite being remote, we don't have any gaps in service and that nothing falls through the cracks. Excuse me. So in this data here is from fall 2020. There were 2,350 entries on the contact tracker form repository that we have. And you can see there were some teams that had hundreds and hundreds of responses. And so there's a lot of work being done and a lot of problems being solved. And this is very key to the retention efforts of this program. Next slide. All right, so we as part of the tracker, we asked about academic experience. As you can imagine, this is not necessarily the academic experience that a lot of our students signed up for. They may have thought they'd be on campus, mingling with one another, maybe at the cafeteria or in between classes or in classes. And so we really wanted to make sure we understood what their rating of their academic experience was. And this was done throughout the semester. Longitudinal survey throughout the semester, and we had a 4.6 out of 5 on the 2,100 responses or so, and only a little bit less than 100 students were dissatisfied with their experience. So although we don't want any of our student athletes to be dissatisfied with their experience, when we are going, and that wasn't 100 students, it was 100 responses. And so that could have been the same student multiple times throughout the semester. But we want to make sure that we're dealing with all those things. As you can imagine, in an environment sort of created by this pandemic, it's not as easy as you may think to create a great academic experience. As many of our faculty and administrators can attest, it's tough. But we're absolutely doing the best that we can to serve these students, and it shows through that 4.6 out of 5 rating. Next step that we want to take in this is to take an analysis of some ongoing themes across semesters. So maybe the fall, being the first full semester in a remote environment, there was something different than maybe this coming, this semester in the spring. Maybe they're more used to it, or, we want to take a look at that, a deeper dive into how they're dealing with their academic experience. All right, so then when we asked about their athletic experience, we wanted to know how they were feeling about their athletic experience. As you can imagine, this was not as high. It was a 4.2 out of 5. And I think a lot of this is because, as you'll hear from some of our student athletes later, some of them haven't even been on our campus. And so they may have been recruited out of high school and may have never even set foot on our campus yet. So it's to be expected that this would be a little bit lower on the scale than the academic experience, as they've been experiencing classes and actually doing academics, right? Whereas athletics, we've been doing Zoom workouts and things of that nature, not exactly what you think about when you think about joining a collegiate, intercollegiate team. So we also asked about their willingness to seek help. Part of this program is identifying problems and trying to be proactive with identifying the needs of our student athletes, but we also wanted them to start thinking about their willingness to seek help and how important that is. Because as much as we can anticipate communication between the student athlete and their coaches or their instructors or whomever it may be is very, very key. So their willingness to seek help was a 4.2 out of 5 as well. So identifying barriers is one area that we wanted to improve upon. We saw, a list of barriers that we thought were kind of the normal barriers, if you will, that folks would be experiencing, but there were many others, and by others, I mean the answer others. So as you can see there, time management was a large barrier. Feeling uneasy, I can relate to that one. Study skills, and then others. So that 384 others, we really need to take a deeper dive and find out what exactly that was and try to categorize those even further. So opportunities moving forward. So looking at students who needed follow-up. Of the 2,200 students that provided information for the survey there, over a third of them needed follow-up. And so that was what I was speaking of earlier with the ART check-ins at the beginning of the week. 2/3 of the time it was, yes, everything's great, everything's going well as expected, all good to go. A third of the time, however, there was some form of follow-up needed, maybe once or maybe multiple occasions of follow-up, whether that was processing a financial aid form or getting a tutor for a math class or whatever it may be. There was some follow-up needed at 811 of those interactions. We also wanted to take a look at students, before fall, and then how they transitioned into a fall where we were, remote, and then the spring, we left mid-spring. Like I said, it wasn't a full remote semester. So looking at their progress and their academic progress during that time and their success during that time and how that's transitioned to last fall and now how it's transitioned into this following spring, trying to see if the interventions and the intrusive steps that we're taking to support them are working. We want to make sure that this program is doing what we think it's doing, and we've definitely seen some positive results thus far. And then finally, we want to take a deeper dive into the demographics. We know who our student athletes are as a whole. We want to make sure that we're looking at what issues and barriers different demographics are dealing with. And this is part of the equity-minded approach that we've taken. Our first semester, there were some teams that had a lot more contacts that required follow-up than others. And so, taking a look at that, analyzing that data, we made some shifts in our athletic retention technician resources to make sure that we were serving the students that needed the help the most. All right, and this is a quick overview just of the three areas that we asked about: academic experience, the athletic experience, and the willingness to seek help.
Thank you, Ryan. So this is the part of the Olympian Pathways prototype of the contact tracker that truly excites me, because the narratives provide us an opportunity to be able to share about the student's story and the experiences that they're going through. So if you look at this particular slide, you will see a whole gamut of experiences, going from a range of academic experiences to athletic experiences. As you can see, we have some of our students who are talking about really missing having the in-person learning experience. Some students, unfortunately, opted to not be a part of the team anymore. For some others, they talk about school being okay. They're trying to get their grades up. And again, admitting that they don't necessarily learn the same way online than they do in a face-to-face format. And again, if you look at the feedback from the right side of the screen, a student has shared about how they're not happy or they're not feeling optimistic about the future of her soccer career. In the aspect of willingness to seek help, this is really important, because part of the reason why Ryan and I have chosen to move forward with coordinating this particular program is to encourage students and to look at patterns and their ability and their willingness to seek help. And hopefully through this program, we've been able to encourage that behavior. Unfortunately, these are examples of the type of feedback that we're receiving from students. Some of our students are struggling mentally, and they've been seeing a therapist. It's worked wonders for that particular student, and she's seen an improvement in her self-esteem and feels better about herself. Sometimes the athletic retention technicians have to do a more hands-on approach when it comes to providing additional support and guidance throughout the process. For instance, for this particular student, there was an assignment that was worth 80 points. And we need to remember some of our students are still using their mobile device with no tutoring help. And so previous conversations with the athletic retention technician pretty much discussed the benefits of having somebody proof their work with them. And then also remembering that we're working with a lot of students who have English, whose primary language is not English, right? So although they're willing to seek help, but with English not being his or her first primary language, asking for help can be intimidating for some of our students. And for some, they just need that additional push, that encouragement to set up tutoring appointments, to seek additional support for their classes. And I love this piece of it all, is the additional support provided by the athletic retention technician to go over the assignments for classes and made sure that the student was all squared away with priority registration to meet with the counseling faculty. Okay, Ryan.
All right. Now, one of the sort of tenets of this program is creating a pod around each student, or a student success team. You can call it a village, you can call it whatever you'd like, but we'd like to really sort of wrap our students in some love. One great thing about Mesa College, as many of you know, is we have a very supportive administrative team. Athletics at our institution is important, and they recognize that and they support us. Another group of folks is our Pathways group. We've had the second P in OPP stands for Pathways. This is hopefully a model that can be scaled up to help, the rest of the pathways on campus. Being the affinity group of athletics, we were a prototype, and we're doing the best we can to make sure that this is a successful program. But early on, we worked with Dr. Tony Parsons, and we worked together to make sure that this is something that can happen on a larger scale with Pathways. So thank you for that. The next level is our coaches. And we've got 21 sports. We have a lot more coaches than this. But these coaches really stepped up, and these coaches are the head coaches and sort of the pod leaders, if you will, of the student athletes that you're going to hear from today. These coaches have done a great job really sort of embodying what it means to do things the Olympian way and to do them in the OPP program. They've really bought into what we're doing. We've got Travis Nichols, our head men's basketball coach, Sean Ricketts, who's the head coach for men's and women's track and field and cross country, Lindsay Samaniego, our head women's basketball coach, Steve Sanchez, our head baseball coach, and Gary Watkins, our head football coach. And so, like I said, as part of the pod, they're constantly communicating with their ARTs who are communicating with the student athletes. And so there's quite a bit of communication, and these folks are really orchestrating a lot of what happens within their pod.
Thank you, Ryan. And in addition to what Ryan had mentioned, the whole work of the OPP program and the Olympians Contact Tracker, they were not only made possible through the support of our coaches, but also through the support of our athletic retention technicians. These are the specific individuals who were in contact with our students, who worked alongside with the coaches, who provided the necessary intervention and support. And so I just wanted to take the time to acknowledge the work of this group of athletic retention technicians. We have a whole group of athletic retention technicians, but this is the group that's here representing and providing support and joining us today in this webinar. So Taylor Genuser for football, Kareth Heron for women's basketball, Talib Mahdi for men's basketball, Jake Portugal for baseball, and Wes Williams for track and field and cross country. You know, one of the best parts of my job is the ability to get to partner up with other schools and other divisions. And I've thoroughly enjoyed getting to know Wes Williams, our athletic retention technicians for track and field and cross country. And he's really seen the value of what this program can bring, given his years of experiences coaching both at the four-year college, at a two-year college, and also being a Mesa College Olympian himself. At this point, I'd like to invite Wes to join me in this platform and share a little bit about his perspective as an athletic retention technician. Coach Wes.
Good afternoon. My experience as a student athlete, if you look at that picture on the right, that was a long time ago. When I first entered Mesa College, the highest building there was the gym, the basketball gym. And I had the opportunity to start my coaching career at Mesa College, left for 2 4-year schools and retired, and I was pulled back in. But I am really encouraged by this ART program we have, because it gives the students an opportunity to not only to reach out and for us as coaches to draw closer to them and to help and to assist them, with services that they otherwise may slip, between the cracks. With the disability support program services, we have access to that to guide and to lead the way. The athletic, the OPP program is just tremendous because it's with the pandemic, the way it's set in, it's been a tremendous asset to the athletes that have that has been disconnected with with this pandemic. So I've had a great time helping to shape this program. I think our head coach in track and field, Sean Ricketts, has done a tremendous job in keeping us connected with our athletes during these stressful times. And I'm looking forward to, in the very near future, to get back to face-to-face, hopefully April the 13th with our athletes. But this program is going to be long range and a tremendous asset to not only the San Diego Mesa community, but I think throughout the city and the state.
Thank you, Wes. When it comes to providing support for student athletes, what we've noticed in our work with the Olympian Pathways prototype is that there are different types of intervention and different types of services work best for the different student population and the different sports. At this time, I'd like to invite Taylor Genuser, our athletic retention technicians for football, to join me and to share with you about these approaches that were implemented. Taylor?
Thank you so much for having me today. I'm excited to share, what the football program has kind of been doing. We have a very large group with football, so we broke off mostly by positions. Me personally had quarterbacks, receivers, and then kickers, punters, snappers, and that comes to about 25 kids from my group. I can count literally on one hand how many sophomores I have. I have the youngest group you can ever imagine, and this has been very, very, very crucial for especially my freshmen. A lot of them have never stepped foot on campus. So I've been able to be a very good middleman for them to get the help they need, get their help them with their classes and everything that they need. The biggest thing that we had was 85 players in our team meeting last week. So that just shows that we have our guys engaged. They want to keep coming back. They're getting all the help that they need, and they're continuing to come back to football. And that's something that we really like. We had 51 students last year with a 3.0 GPA, not even incorporating football classes or PE in that sense. So this program has been very good. I check with my guys on Mondays and Tuesdays, and guys that are borderline with grades, we meet again on Thursdays and Fridays. And if they need help, we get them the tutoring that they need. But I've had very good feedback from our players, and I'm very happy to be a part of this program.
Thank you, Taylor. At this point, I'd like to invite our athletic retention technicians to join me in welcoming our student athletes. First, I invite Jake Portugal to share a little bit about Aaron Wright.
Hey everyone, Jake Portugal here. Very excited for you to hear from Aaron Wright today. We share a special bond in that we both played for the same high school baseball coach. So when I got a call early last year about a potential student athlete to come recruit for the baseball team, I knew this person was going to be a high character person. So then to see the various curveballs Aaron has been thrown throughout this pandemic, I think we'll all benefit from hearing his story.
Thank you, Jake. Also, I'd like to invite Kareth Heron, our athletic retention technician for women's basketball, to introduce Emma Fitzgerald and Juliana Valadez. Kareth?
Hi, everyone. I'm Kareth Heron. I am excited to introduce Emma and Juliana. Emma is an incoming freshman in the women's basketball program. The OPP program has helped her balance academics and athletics while still maintaining a focus on her personal life. Emma is just another excellent example of the benefits that the OPP program provides in helping these student athletes be successful in all areas of life. Juliana is also an incoming freshman in the women's basketball program. Despite how difficult COVID was on her and her family, Juliana made it through the semester and is now in a much healthier place physically, mentally, and emotionally. The regular contact and support provided by the ART played a significant role in helping improve her grades. As a result, she is happier and is developing athletically as well as academically. Both athletes have grown a lot within the OPP program, and I'm really excited to see them succeed even more. Thank you.
Thank you, Kareth. At this point, I'd like to invite Talib Mahdi to introduce Max Fight for men's basketball. Talib, you're muted. There you go.
Thank you, Ailene. Max is also an incoming freshman, an incredible young man. We are excited to have him in our program. Due to COVID, Matt decided to stay home, which has challenges for out-of-state student athletes. He was worried about feeling disconnected from the school and his teammates through the art program. He was recommitted, engaged, and actually used the program as an essential mechanism to keep him motivated. And I look forward for you guys to hear his story.
Thank you, Coach. And next, I'd like to invite Wes Williams to join me and help me introduce Yahaira Zuniga from women's cross country and Andrew Mitchell from men's track and field. Wes? Are you there, Wes?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Yahida Zuniga and Andrew Mitchell. They both, I've had the ability to have Andrew in my pod of athletes, and we make sure that we are guiding them in the direction to looking for a four-year school. And we have weekly Zoom meetings with them and making sure that they are engaged. With the ART program, we know that if they're having a bad week, we address that immediately. But they've both, I feel, have benefited from our program, and I'm looking forward to them sharing their stories, their personal stories with you.
Thank you, Wes. Okay, at this point, what I'd like to do is invite our student panel to join us. We have some questions that we will be asking you, and they will be sharing a little bit about their journey. Okay. So for our first question, please share your name and your major and how long you've been at Mesa College.
My name is Aaron Wright, and I've been at Mesa College this is my second semester. I still haven't stepped foot on the campus, unfortunately. But I just want to say, Coach, that was a good metaphor, curveballs. That was a good one. That was nice. But yeah.
Thank you, Aaron. Andrew?
Hi, my name's Andrew Mitchell. I'm a geology major, earth science major, and this will be my third semester at Mesa.
Thank you. Juliana?
Hi, my name is Juliana Valdez. I'm an engineering major. I've been at Mesa for 2 semesters, and I also have not set foot on campus.
Thank you, Juliana. Max?
Hello, my name is Max Fight. I'm a psych major, and this is my second semester at Mesa. Ready to get on campus.
Thank you, Max. Yahaira?
Hello, I'm Yahaira Zuniga, and I'm majoring in kinesiology, and this is my second year at Mesa.
Thank you, Yahaira. And Emma?
Hi, everyone. My name is Emma Fitzgerald. I'm a freshman this year, and I'm yet to play or practice on campus. I walked it once, but I'm excited to get on so we can practice. I'm also a business communications major right now.
Thank you, Emma. So the next question that we have for our student panel is, what were your plans before the pandemic? Who would like to answer that first?
I can go.
Okay, Juliana.
My plans before the pandemic were to actually join the Army, and then they kind of put it on hold because, they had to figure out the whole process of like how I'd get through that while still being quarantined. So then I ended up emailing coaches in San Diego, and here I am.
And I'm glad that you're here. Who else would like to answer that question about sharing about their plans before the pandemic?
So I guess I'll go next. I was competing last year until COVID cut our season short. I was planning and I was academically ready to graduate and transfer. But when COVID shut my season down, it kind of halted my progress for transferring.
Thank you. Anybody else from our student panel? Yahaira?
I'll go next, yes. I was planning to improve because I was ready for track also, but have Andrew say that our season was canceled. So I couldn't do anything about it. So I was excited about that, but we can't do anything about the pandemic, Mm-hmm. And I was also planning to get more opportunities and to be able to transfer to a 4-year college. But yeah, that didn't happen either. So but I continued growing as a person and also trying to be so motivated as to myself and keep on going with school.
Thank you, Yahaira. And Emma, I thought you had unmuted yourself. Are you ready?
Oh, yes. Prior to the pandemic, my vision of where I'd be going to college was probably a little bit different. I was kind of set on running track in college. I had been looking at a couple schools, but after my basketball season, my senior year ended. We lost one of our state games, and I was just not ready to give up basketball. So I decided I would start looking in San Diego community colleges just so I could get my feet on the ground and start my journey.
Thank you, Emma. How about Aaron? Yeah.
Yeah, before COVID, honestly, I had no clue. I'm not gonna lie. I had absolutely no clue. So, but I started performing well in baseball again, and I got myself right mentally. And I was honestly very happy to go to Mesa because my coach did tell me about Coach Portugal, and in my phone call with Coach Sanchez, I just felt it was the right place for me.
I'm so glad you found Mesa. And Max?
My plans before the pandemic, I'd say I was looking to get myself into a four-year school, but kind of truly thinking about stuff, it's almost smarter to kind of get my feet used to college, so finding San Diego Mesa and its opportunities, it was great. So yeah.
Thank you, Max. So the next question that we have for you is, how has the pandemic impacted your plans? You want to start with that, Juliana, since you went first?
Yeah, so again, I was going to join the Army, but then that got halted, and I ended up going to visit my aunt who lives in San Diego, because I currently don't live in San Diego, and I really love the area, so I decided to email coaches there, and I ended up really connecting with Mesa, and I love the programs there, and all the outlets you can get to, and I ended up going here.
Thank you, Juliana. Andrew?
So like I kind of briefly went on, like I was ready to transfer. The first meet that we had of the season, I hit 2 state A marks for my 2 events, jav and disc. And I was really excited, but COVID cut that a little short. And with academics, I was taking Calc 2 and some other classes I needed to graduate. But when we went online, I knew I couldn't handle the Calc 2. I just wasn't ready for it. So I had to drop it, and that prevented me from graduating on time too. So kind of snowball effect a little bit.
Thank you, Andrew. Yahaira?
The classes switched from on campus to online. So that was something different, something new to learn about Zoom. And then the practices in the season was all canceled. So there were like nothing to do. And then the parks were closed. And then everyone was on quarantine. So it was something different, something unexpected. And then I stopped working. So I got my job back, and then I just definitely stopped working because of the pandemic. And then I started getting more responsibilities at home. And then I started having a personal problem at home. And then my mom started like getting a little sick. So I was behind with her. So, and I was just trying to do my best. So yeah, that was it.
Thank you, Yahaira. Emma?
Yeah, kind of like I said a little bit before, my plans did change due to the pandemic. Once I made my decision to play basketball for Mesa, I felt really driven, enthusiastic, and optimistic. I was very motivated, and I was practicing every day. And then when I got out here and I heard that our season was canceled, I was super bummed, feeling really frustrated, pretty low too. I was kind of struggling with the academic piece as well. And luckily my coaches, they kind of talked through everything with me. And I decided, since I couldn't have a basketball season, I would like to run track. And then the track season got canceled as well, but I'm really just looking forward to getting on campus April 12th and 13th And I'm very fortunate that I've been able to have this opportunity to play 2 sports.
Thank you, Emma. I'm not sure I could pull off 2 sports or even 1.
We'll see if I can.
No, you will do great. Aaron, how about you?
Yeah, well, my baseball season got canceled, which was a heartbreaker for me because I finally like got into my zone and I felt like, all right, I'm like doing this. I was on a hot streak. Well, not when the season started. That's another heartbreaker because I didn't end off on the note I wanted to. But we were gonna play at Petco, and that was a dream of mine. Like I was so upset feeling that I wouldn't like that's a almost once in a lifetime chance. But hopefully I'll play there someday. But yeah, those were the biggest heartbreakers when it comes to changing my plans.
I can see why. It's going to happen, Aaron. It's going to happen for you. Max.
The pandemic has it canceled our season. That's probably one of the biggest plans that I was excited for, obviously, to get out there and start hooping.
Mhm.
But like my plan is still to become a better person every single day, being an athlete and a student. So I'm still planning on doing that every day. So it's kind of okay, you know?
Yes. Thank you, Max. So the next question that we have for our students is, what challenges did you face during the pandemic? Andrew, would you like to share?
Yeah, I can start. There's kind of a lot, but so after the season got canceled, I was really frustrated with everything that was going on. And so I went to go visit my aunt and uncle in Florida. I was going to visit and stay with them, but also spend time with my little brother. He was spending time there after a lot of hardship that he had to go through with the passing of my dad in 2017. Um, so I went to go spend time with my family. And the third day I was there, me and my brother got into not a big fight, but a heated fight over his well-being and his future. And as his older brother and only brother, I tried to do what I thought was best for him. And it ended up in some legality issues. And my brother went back to live with my grandfather in Florida, in Michigan. And then because of the legality issues, I was stuck in Florida for like 4 months. And even though I love my aunt and uncle, there was a lot of just a lot of hardships that I had to deal with my mental health, and resources that I had. I still was able to like, do the Zoom meetings with my track team, but it was just really hard. I was trapped in Florida, no one around my age. It was very lonely, even though I had my family to, be there, but I felt homesick and it was really heavy on me. When the legality issues were resolved 4 months later, I did a lot of work for my aunt, and she let me have one of the extra cars that they had. And I took a solo road trip, 9 days across the country to come back to San Diego. And on the last day of my road trip, while I was in Arizona, my grandfather called me and told me my brother had died. He was killed in a drunk boating accident while he was swimming in the lake that he lived on with my grandfather. And I mean, this being the second call that I've had to deal with about death in my family, it still hurt. And I was all alone, but I was able to get home safe and sound and reconnect with my godfather and my friends who helped me through it. And I kept pushing. And then with time, I had it was tough. I had some financial issues, so I got a part-time job to juggle with Zoom track and school. Academics were hard, but I was able to I was able to space them out so it wasn't overloading me. And then just the resources in general with actually training. I wasn't able to, throw as much as I wanted to. I had my own implements, but every time I went to a park with my ex-track teammates and my track teammates that I have, because we would get together and kind of coach each other. Every park we went to, we got kicked out of because with us being throwers, we usually leave holes in whatever we throw into. And even though we were, doing our best to cover them up and dig, fill them up, the gardeners and groundskeepers just weren't having it. We eventually found a park that was able to house us, which was nice, but it was just hard. And then without the ability to weight lift as well, it was, I got weaker, but it gave me more emphasis to work on technique. But then I got injured. I got a elbow injury throwing jav, which was hard. And I'm still kind of recovering from it, but it's been definitely a long road, long year.
Thank you for your willingness to share that, Andrew.
Of course. Yeah.
Aaron, are you willing to go next? Are you willing to share a little bit about your challenges during the pandemic?
Yeah, towards the beginning of the pandemic, it didn't happen when this pandemic started, but it was definitely like towards in that timeline. My dad was struggling through his diagnosis of multiple myeloma cancer, which is a cancer in the bone marrow. So it's a very, very painful cancer, long story short. And my dad struggled with mental health and we'll leave it at mental health, through his life. And he just throughout being home with the pandemic and trying to balance schoolwork and everything like that, it's just very hard to watch somebody you love go through something like that. It's a very, very deterring cancer. It's a very painful thing to watch, even to watch. I'm not even the one experiencing it, and it kind of manifests itself within my mind, just because I don't know. But I started going through my own mental health issues, just struggling with the fact that, person I love is going through something like that. And I wasn't able to distract myself. I was alone with my thoughts a lot because obviously you're isolated with the pandemic, and I couldn't go anywhere pretty much because my dad's immune system was so bad. So I couldn't be in contact with anybody. But that was a very, very difficult part. And through my academic, it's been a hard academic environment to get stuff done, long story short, again, in my house. But my coach Portugal, he was the first person I kind of expressed it to. And he's been in constant contact with me since. And I'm in his health class, and he's been very, very understanding when it comes to my situation. And it's helped me a lot.
I'm happy to hear that, Aaron. I think that your story shows the importance of having some form of support system. And I'm happy to hear that you're able to reach out to Coach Portugal about that. Anybody else want to answer what challenges they've faced during the pandemic? Anyone want to share from our student panel?
I can.
Hey, Julia.
First, I want to say I'm really sorry to Aaron and Andrew about what you're going through. I really do hope it gets better, with everything. And for me, it's more so just mental health and, dealing with family. I live in a house of 8. So, it's, simple things that are hard, finding good internet connection or, finding a quiet space to do your work and stuff. Currently I'm right here in my sister's kitchen because she has better internet with my nephews right in front of me. And sometimes it's simple things, and other times it's family fights. There are family fights, in every family. I know a lot of people that go through that, and, it's kind of just exhausting, to have to deal with that and then go to work and then deal with practice and then deal with homework. I'm just 18, so it kind of just sucks having to, handle everybody talking to you about that, especially with my mom. I share a room with my mom, so I don't exactly have the most privacy in the world. So it's kind of just dealing with, my family constantly around me and trying to find like a space for myself sometimes and, focus on myself and my mental health and my homework instead of, taking care of others, especially like when my mom got COVID and I always saw her like she was feeling super sick or like she was always wanting to do something more like, let's clean this, let's do that. I just don't want to be in bed sick all day. And, she didn't take time to take care of herself either because she also has mental health issues that she, really could address, but it's kind of just juggling with that.
Thank you, Juliana. So for our last question, can you share a little bit about how the athletic retention technicians and how the coaches have helped you? Anyone who wishes to answer that?
Yeah, I did in my other thing. I forgot this. This is gonna be another question.
Hey,
But
that's fine.
definitely, Coach was actually the first person I really expressed it to, or at least first person from Mesa. And so just with that understanding, he was very, very understanding when it came to my work. And he's, like I said, been in constant communication, which has helped.
Thank you, Erin. Anybody else?
I can go. Coach Care was, always really there, and Coach Samaniego, they are very helpful. They actually helped me communicate with my teachers about what's happening because, with it taking a toll on my mental health, I kind of started losing focus on, my priorities. And they helped me with that, and they helped, guide me to different things like getting therapy and seeing counseling and all these other programs that I can do. And there's Be Calm Zooms that, students can join, and, it helps them focus on themselves. And, they both really helped guide me and showed me how understanding, everybody here is.
Thank you, Juliana. Anybody else?
Yeah. Oh.
No, you can go. You can go.
Thank you. Okay, so it's for the last question, right?
Yes, Yahaira.
So the coaches really was helpful for me because I was going through something personal at home. I didn't know what to do, and we were all in quarantine. So I didn't know what to do, not even being able to speak with my parents about it because it was something really bad, and I knew what were the consequences. So there were a trust with coaches. It's not like a coach and athlete relationship, but it is more like a trust, like a friend. So there were a trust where I can trust coach to tell him everything was going on. I was also getting some stress. I was told him that I didn't have any time for myself. I was going so many things. And then one thing that he really taught me was to trust the process. Because during the cross-country season last fall, 2019, I got injured for the first time. I got injured and I was so stressed about it. I thought oh, if I stop running for 2 weeks, I'm gonna get slower. I can't even run it. And I was improving. And he showed me to trust the process and to take small steps. And that's also helping me to be confident and to always be so positive. And that really helped me a lot that now I can go and help my other teammates to trust the process also, to not be afraid and to not really stress about it. And also I was going on through this process about transferring. Supposedly I got a call from for your college, and I was under pressure, so didn't know what to do. And every time that he was calling me almost every day, and he was oh, so what's your answer? And I was so everything I was saying yes, and I didn't know. I didn't even have time for myself to think about if I really want to go there, if I really want to move out of home. So I have a discussion with coach, and he really helping me, and the other coaches also helping me to think twice and to not feel that pressure. So I stopped feeling pressure. I know what to do for the next time when I get a call from a four-year college, and I know what to say. I know what to do now. So that really helped me a lot because now I know what to do for the next time. But yes, I really enjoyed that trust that I have with coach. it's not like a athlete coach and everything is about running. No, everything is about being healthy, which is number one, always being healthy. Everything's going good at school and also home and at work. So there's like a really good trust with coaches and with other teammates also. It's not like it doesn't feel like a running team or just a team. It also feels like a family. Like we all are a family. We're all close. Everybody pull each other and say, keep up going, always be positive. Let's motivate each other. So that's what I really enjoy.
Thank you, Yahaira. Anybody else?
I can go. I just, I really appreciate my coaching staff. And honestly, all coaching staffs, because I know when I was working work study, I made a lot of connections with other coaches like Jake, Portugal. But throughout this past year, I've had to deal with a lot and, work on myself a lot to keep going. And every step of the way, my coaching staff has been there, checking in on me, talking with me, and have kept me hopeful about transferring this season. And the art program itself too, with the weekly coaches checks and keeping up to date with them, training logs, it was just kind of a way, even when I wasn't feeling the best with my mental stability and I just not knowing what I was going to do, having that every weekly thing like in the background kept me going from week to week, and it made this long year feel kind of short, having those weekly goals. And as great as I feel like I am doing now, I wasn't always the best student athlete, especially with my coaches my first year. I was a little of a trouble child. But after this year, when I really wanted to change and do better for myself, and I wanted to just move forward, my coaching staff was there to welcome me and help me move forward, which, I couldn't ask for anything more as someone who doesn't have whose father's gone and whose mother's not in his life. It's good to have that kind of familiar feeling, and it's helped a lot.
Thank you, Andrew. I'd like to thank all our students, our student athletes, for their willingness to serve, and the panel for answering all these questions that can otherwise be extremely difficult, and for sharing about your journey and talking about the impact of the OPP program, the athletic retention technicians, and the support received from the ART and the coaches. Is there anything you'd like to add, Ryan?
Oh, yeah, just echoing the sentiment of, thank you so much for joining us today. Your stories are inspiring. You're a special group of folks, and I love it when our campus community gets to see the shining stars that we have as our student athletes. So thank you for sharing.
Yeah, and Ryan, we just want to wrap up by sharing the slide with all our athletic retention technicians. This consists of the ARTs who really made this program happen, all their hard work, along with the coaches who've really worked hard with our students and providing support and intervention as needed. And this includes all the ARTs from both fall and spring, and would like to take the time to share a little bit with you and thank you for all the support you've provided to the OPP program. Thank you. That concludes our presentation.
Thank you so much to our student athletes. You guys can stay on camera. Thank you so much to our student athletes, to our wonderful coaches and ARTs. Thank you to Ryan and to Ailene. It truly does take a village, and I don't know about all of you, but I am inspired every day by the stories that I hear from you. I am proud that you are Mesa Olympians. I am proud that you represent our college. And I cannot wait, assuming we will get to see each other at some point soon, I cannot wait to see you and watch you either on the field or in a pool or on a pitch somewhere as you do what you do as student athletes. So thank you so much. Truly appreciate all the efforts today. And we are with you. We are absolutely with you. You know, we have that saying, we are Mesa, and we mean it. It's behind all of your heads on those backdrops. So we absolutely mean it. So thank you so, so much. And we look forward to this program going forward. You know, the architects, Ailene and Ryan and the group here came up with this very quickly, but we know and we believe that this really should be a model for all college programs supporting student athletes. And so we will be continuing this work moving forward. So thank you to everyone and for all your hard work. And again, for taking the time to be with us today. I hope you will enjoy your spring breaks. I'm sure you are looking forward to not having formal classes, but of course, as essays, we know that you'll be working out. So congratulations on sticking with us. And we look forward to seeing you the week of April the 12th. And again, I'll be the one out there screaming and yelling, excited to see you all. All right, with that, we are going to conclude our Campus Community Forum today. I know that I have been inspired by this work. I'm sure all of you have been as well. If you have questions for our wonderful group, I'm sure that Ryan and Ailene would be happy to answer them via email. If you have any other questions about what's going on, you can always email me or Dr. Hands, Dr. O'Connor, VP Legaspi. We're always here to serve and willing to help in whatever way we can. So with that, I'm going to say goodbye. And again, thank you so much to our OPP friends for presenting today. Absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much. And to our coaches, let me just say, I know not all our coaches are on camera with us here today, but we know our coaches are playing a huge role in all of your lives in this work as well. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And we'll see you at our next community forum. Thanks, everyone.